lekin vaqtda mana shu o'ltirmaslik bo'lmaydi deb dinga osiylik qilgan biz dinni murtadlarni tozimsak dinimiz isloh bo'lmaydi. Shunlashgan cho'qim o'ltirib o'tishimiz kerak.
他们就觉得我们要把这个宗教界的有威望的、有水平的这些人要消灭掉以后，然后对他们反抗的人是没有的，然后他们才能得到他自己的阴谋，才能得到自己的策划的这个目的。
As the main battlefield of China's counterterrorism, the Xinjiang Uyghur Autonomous Region has implemented its laws on de-radicalization and counterterrorism. These laws aim to eliminate terrorism from the roots.
恐怖主义和极端主义呢，现在越来越一体化了。利用一些宗教认同或者民族认同来宣扬它的极端主义理论的话，那么呢，它的迷惑性、蛊惑性以及煽动性呢，就可以通过这种呢，极端主义的外衣，那么很容易呢，就是吸引到一些呢青少年加入到他的恐怖活动的行列之中。
宗教极端主义的一种泛滥，在这种情况下绑架了伊斯兰教。
The human cost is huge. For some, the wounds never heal. This is the southern town of Salikbuya, struck by a deadly attack in 2013. For Uyghur community official Hawagu Abdulian, this is a routine visit at the largest bazaar in southern Xinjiang. Salikbuya is home to some 50,000 people. Most are Uyghurs. Hawagu was posted here after the violent attack 6 years ago. She's maintained vigilance against terrorism ever since.
Biz her günü, men şu her günü hizmetini kanat eyduğa vaxtımda ahalilarga tushib ziyorat qilish orqali asosan tashviqotni asos qilib ommaga tashviqot xizmatini yaxshi ishlab, undan muhimni o'qit qilib yoshlarningki ishga urilish nisbatini yuqori ko'tarish uchun ishsiz yoshlarningki kasbiy jihatdan tarbiyalab, ularga bo'lgan tashviqotni yaxshi qilib.
The violence in 2013 took the lives of 15 police officers and community staff. 6 of the attackers were shot dead and another 8 were captured. This community staff member, who doesn't want to be named, says she went to the scene and saw her colleagues among the victims. Some were pregnant women. She was outraged. The senseless killings deepened her hatred for the murderers. Extremism has cast a long shadow over Salikbuya. It's destroyed families, and the wounds run deep. Today, Hawagu is paying a visit to the mother of one victim. 79-year-old Ushhan Wiley lost her son, a security staff member. Tayer Ahed was 35. He left behind a wife and 2 children.
Şu bal boğan bozum hazır hem böyle noş ballarını böyle uqtışqa. İnak itibaq ötüşke. Emme yaşınıp qalğandikin tapılaydıgan gibi şottu. O balağımı.
Öyle başka kıyınçılık
Wushu Han says she hates violence, but nothing can bring back her son. She hopes he did not die in vain and that Salikbuya will enjoy peace. Terrorism has killed hundreds in Xinjiang in recent years. China says the East Turkestan Islamic movement is behind the unrest. Many say the reasons are complicated. Xinjiang has been subject to frequent extremist activities over the past years. The government says those terrorist attacks do not represent any ethnic group or religion, and the fight against terrorism is not an ethnic or a religious problem, but a long-term effort to safeguard unity.
极端主义成为了呢恐怖主义的重要的核心，也就是说呢，成为支撑它的一个内核。真正的去除呢极端化，这才是从根源上 产出了呢恐怖主义所赖以生存的最为核心的要素。
只要这个宗教极端思想在，它就有可能刺激刺激暴恐。所以说，我们说要根除宗教极端思想，可能是控制暴恐的这个最有效方式和最根本的方式。
Hawagu says most religious extremists are young people, usually unemployed, who have been radicalized. They include Ahmed Hashim's nephew, Mehmet. He took part in the violence and was sentenced to 9 years in prison. Mehmet's uncle has no idea why his nephew got involved and says young people need support.
Yaş baldan aşı muşunda kanunsuz dini hareketliye kanunsuz mıyda işlağı aldırıp kalmaslıqına muşu ticaretine özünki muşu nimiz boyunca qilib yolu boyunca mektep 5 kilo olsa o'qib bilmelep muşu yurtimizniki muqimligi xotirjamlik uchun kuch chiqish umid qilib. Bu vaqt shunda voqeaning yurtimiz chiqib qolganligidan shu echindim. Shuni muqimsizlik omilining elib kelganligidan o'zim norozi bo'ldim.
Locals say the majority of Uyghurs have been smeared by a very small number of radicals.
Meningcha hamda layoqatli bir musulmon o'zining e'tiqodidan boshqa davlatning muqimligi, millatlar ittifoqligini, ondan jamiyatning taraqqiyotini, ondan o'zining shu yurtining gullanishi, iqtisodi uchun cho'qim bir kishilik to'p qo'shish kerak deb o'ylayman.
Hawagu says you can't tell a terrorist by his or her face, so you need to get to know people. The violence has changed her life and her views on the fight against terrorism. Hawagu says the real challenge is to keep watching, believing that even one woman can make a difference. Tiananmen Square in the capital Beijing is the political symbol of China. It also became a target for terrorists. On October 28, 2013, an SUV rammed through barricades in front of the gate tower and burst into flames. The attack killed 2 civilians and wounded over 40. The driver and the 2 passengers all died. The authorities soon declared the incident a terrorist attack. They said it was not an isolated incident outside Xinjiang, and that it marked a new phase of terrorist violence in China. Police identified the driver as Isam. In recovered selfie videos, Isam burns national flags of a dozen countries.
Allahu Akbar.
Before the Tiananmen attack, the group swore so-called jihad on a barren hill on the outskirts of Urumqi. Police also detained the other 5 members involved in the attack. They include the couple Hushur and Tohotiniaz.
Bütün dünya tanıdık bildi. Beijing'in Tiananmen adını Tiananmen Cumhuriyeti'nin payitahtı olan için bütün dünya tanıdı.
When this couple signed on, they left their 6-year-old son and 2-year-old daughter at home. They sold all their possessions in preparation.
车买了，手里还有存钱吗？
没有。
那给不给孩子留什么东西？
没有。既然已经到那个地方了，就下了决心。那个时候我想，我自己不会杀人，拿刀也拿不起来，我对自己没有信心做那样子的事情。但是我唯一做的是坐在车里，把车子包下了。
Tohotinia says she was convinced that they could enter paradise by killing.
Adam qayerda bo'lsa, shuningda chanash yo tartib shu qilsa, sen musulmon bo'lsan, men o'tibdi, sen uyg'ur bo'lsan, men o'tibdi, o dinimizni o desak, vaqt biz ish qilmaymiz.
Soon after the Tiananmen attack, in a clip obtained by a monitoring organization, a radical Islamic group claimed responsibility and warned of future attacks in the Chinese capital.
Beijing Tiananmen meydanida mashina fidoilik amaliyoti olib berishga muvaffaq bo'ldi. Allohning izni bilan bu jihodiy amaliyot tirisiga sig'mayotgan takabbur Xitoy hokimiyatini qattiq vahimaga soldi.
Chinese authorities have blamed the East Turkestan Islamic Movement, or ETIM, a shadowy Xinjiang-based group with ostensible ties to Al-Qaeda. Some Western media don't believe it and point a finger at China's hardline policies. But Chinese police say they have clear evidence that the incident is linked with the separatist forces outside Xinjiang, which advocate the use of violence. The police investigation provided deeper insight into what have been the roads to radicalism.
Hayatta bizning vaqtga maqsadimiz o'lib ketish, o'lib ketsak jannat ko'ramiz deb o'ylab qilgan ish faoliyatlar uchun hammasi. Shunga gumonju kisakada, gumonju qurolliq qism bog'liq uchun hujum qilgandan keyin bizni o'q chiqarib cho'qinmiz. Shu yerda o'lib ketamiz, o'lib ketsak shahid bo'lamiz deb degan ko'z qarash bilan şeyge hücum qilishni bilib ishga.
Nurg'un mashadiki endi sharoblarni ichkilanmaydi deb ishmayapmiz. Edik sharoblarni ichsima, nasm qilmaydigan odamning badaniga talab chiqsima, xuddi mushtaq shunday xush ko'rib attarlar botirmanda endi. Shu attarlarning purg'i o'xshaydi.
70 urug' tuqqunga jannat ahlidan qila oladi. Bir er 70 ayolga o'lina oladi.
Most killers, though claiming to be loyal to Islam, have very little knowledge of the Quran.
Dinning tarafından qanchalik bo'lganligini bilasizmi?
Yo'q, bilmayman.
Jihadning ma'nosi nima?
Jihadning ma'nosini aytmayman.
Musulmonlar qilishga tegishli 5 farzni bilamsan?
Bilmayman. Qilmasak jannatga chiqa olmaydi. Deb shu qonga ichib so'zlagandan keyin o'z gapiga endi bizning boshlig'imiz aytgan gapi kishimizda
qo'lga debdi bunda kumalni baxmat kelmamışlarning deyin to'g'ri olsaydi deb
amriga itoat qilish farz. Shu amrga osiylik qilsak Alloh taolaning oyatlarini hukmlarini inkor qilgan bo'lamiz.
Amerika masalan yaqinda bir davlatga o'zimning aqidasini qo'g'dash qarta endi qanday harakat bo'lsa qilim to'g'ri.
Mush ishlar atlangan. Jihadni to'g'ri deb ko'zqarashda bo'lg'achqa.
To achieve their purposes, the extremist forces deliberately distorted religious teachings. Typically, they describe the jihad of the Quran as a holy war against infidels. The Quran is the key source of guidance for billions of believers. Many scholars say the correct understanding of the Quran, especially the word jihad, is crucial. killing civilians can be justified by Islam.
فكلمة الجهاد كلمة صحيحة في دين الإسلام، لكن لأنها مرتبطة بكلمة الإيمان، والإيمان مرتبط بكلمة معرفة الله سبحانه وتعالى.
So that was crystal clear that Muslims should try to establish justice through all possible peaceful means. And if this happens, then Allah is opening no way for them to fight.
إنك تؤمن بالله معناها إن أنت تعترف بوجود شيء لا تراه ولا تسمعه ولا تحسه بأحاسيسك البشرية، ولذلك هذا يعتبر جهاد، إنك تكافح داخل نفسك لكي تعرف الله عز وجل. فرسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم تحدث على كلمة الجهاد ليس بمعنى حمل السلاح، ولكن أهم حاجة إنك تجاهد من داخل نفسك وتسارع نفسك لكي تبعد عنك الشيطان وترى وتؤمن بالله سبحانه وتعالى.
伊斯兰教主张就是和平，伊斯兰教的这个名字也就是和平字。像这样的情况下，和平是我们教的名字，我们教就是和平，穆斯林就是主张和平的人。宗教它不是极端，极端也不是宗教，反而宗教是反对极端的。从这个看来，宗教和极端是无关的。
فللأسف هناك المغردين الذين يحاولوا أن يشوهوا صورة الإسلام بأنهم يستخدموا هذا اللفظ في غير معناه. الإسلام ليس دين العنصرية والتطرف، ولكن بعض الناس تستخدم لفظ الإسلام لكي تفي بأغراضها الغير إسلامية.
History shows a recurring threat of separatism. At the turn of the 20th century, separatist and religious extremists inside and outside China called on all ethnic groups who spoke Turkic languages and believed in Islam to join in creating the theocratic state, which they called East Turkestan. They spread the misconceptions that Uyghurs were the only masters of Xinjiang, that the Uyghur cultures of Xinjiang were not Chinese culture, and that Islam was the only religion practiced in Xinjiang. They clamored for opposition to all ethnic groups other than Turks and for the annihilation of infidels. Such instigation has led to constant violence and terrorism in Xinjiang. Experts say many young people are brainwashed with the ideal of so-called jihad, which encourage them to die for their belief in order to enter paradise. Many followers no longer possess a mind of their own. Mernisa was a university student. She says after she got in touch with a group of extremists and watched jihad videos, she decided to join them.
Бурун менен мектептин башкы зерикшисият болгондон кийин онунга ок этилип, эгер биз мыштак жахат кылып өлмөсөк, у дүйнөгө болгондо анда бизге ар хил ар түрлүк азаплар деп мага коркунуч ичимге бир коркунуч силип койду. Мени коркутты аш кеп сөзлөр аркылуу.
Mernisa took part in the attack on December 15th, 2013 in Shufu County, Kashgar, in which 2 policemen were killed. Police have also confiscated a large number of violent audio and video materials. Authorities say the recruitment usually begins online. But who directs them and how is a question that requires more time and effort to discover.
实质上呢，就是说视频的一些极端思想的传播，包括呢暴恐音视频的观看，都对他们的恐怖袭击活动呢起着一个驱使和催化的作用。
The authorities believe that since 1990, there have been new developments in terrorism which have posed some of the biggest dangers in China. They include new tactics, target selection, geographic reach, and international connections. Recent reports have revealed that there are hundreds of Chinese fighters in Syria, and some jihadists have brought their war home to Xinjiang. This is what happened as early as 1989 after the Soviet-Afghan War.
I'm witness to the fact that a number of Muslims from China's province of Xinjiang, the Uyghurs, they also ended up in those training camps, and they were trained as jihadists. So when the war ended in 1989, some of them went back, but most of them were not de-indoctrinated, and they were used as tools.
China is doing everything it can to ensure security. In the border areas of the autonomous region, eyes are wide open for signs. What worries the government is the link between terrorism and outside forces. So much of the threat is beyond China's reach.